Welcome to Watches with Dennis, and today I want to give some first thoughts on the finally revealed, for real, white dial version of the Omega Moonwatch Professional Edition. So let's go ahead and get some specifications out of the way. This is going to be very similar to the traditional black dial Moonwatch Professional in a lot of ways, but there are some differences. The case is 42 millimeters in diameter in steel. It has 47.5 millimeter lug-to-lug distance. It's 13.2 millimeters in thickness, and it offers 50 meters of water resistance. The watch has a 20 millimeter lug width, and it can be obtained on bracelet or on strap, and the watch is powered by the caliber 3861. This is a master chronometer certified anti-magnetic hand-wound movement chronograph, of course. It beats at 3 Hertz, has 26 joules, and offers approximately 50 hours of power reserve. But let's go ahead and take a look at the dial. That is the star of the show. That is the big change-up. It is at last in white. Omega has done non-black dials over the years for the Moon watches, but for white itself, in terms of being a part of the permanent collection, I believe this is the first time. The dial itself is lacquered, which is allowing this white to be very glossy, and you'll see black indices and hands to offset against that, with a little bit of red accenting in terms of on the chronograph central seconds hand, as well as the word Speedmaster on the dial. Another interesting change up from the black dial iteration of the Moonwatch Professional is the indices are applied now, not just painted on, with little pips of lume on each of those. The dial and the display case back are in sapphire. There is no Hesalite iteration of this watch, at least not at this time. It is only available in the sapphire sandwich. Pricing does depend on if you ask for it on bracelet or on some form of a strap, but using the bracelet iteration, which is the most expensive but probably most popular version, this is on Omega's website at $8,100 US. For comparison's sake, the Sapphire Sandwich Black Dial Moonwatch Professional is $8,000 on bracelet. So this is $100 more. So what are my first thoughts? With a denotion, these are first thoughts. These are a reaction. I have not handled this watch. It is not a review. I'm just looking at photos, looking at video, and giving an impression. And my impression is this is a welcome change. For me, the Moonwatch, I've just never been able to click with it. Some other Speedmasters from Omega, yeah. Not the Moonwatch, though. I know it's iconic. A lot of people love the history to it. But in terms of the look itself, while I do like a lot of conservative watch designs, that one just never has worked for me. But in a lacquer white dial, it's starting to work. I don't know if it's just that or the fact that they've also gone ahead and applied the indices, so it actually feels like a more luxury watch versus just painted on markers, which might be okay sub $5,000, but when we're getting close to $10,000, I've really sort of questioned it, other than the heritage of the watch itself. It just looks better overall. The accents of red work really well for it. I don't think I'm really in the market still for this, but it definitely resonates a lot better with me. I think a lot of people are going to like this. Obviously, there's been a lot of excitement ever since Daniel Craig was spotted wearing a prototype model last year. I think the big pushback is going to be one thing and one thing only, because you either like the Moonwatch or you don't like the Moonwatch. And other than the dial change-up, there's really not a lot changing here. And that's going to be the price point. Now, in the context of Omega and pricing and how much they're asking for these watches nowadays versus what they used to ask not all that many years ago, that is a very fair discussion and a fair debate, and will probably rule a lot of people out, or at least rule them out until they can find this used or on the gray market. But just comparing this white dial version to the black dial version, the fact that Omega only marked it up $100, and you might say, well, $100 for just the dial color change. We can debate whether or not the cost of doing the lacquer approach versus whatever the traditional approach is. But even setting that aside, just the fact that they've gone ahead and taken the effort to apply the indices, I think a lot of people will be able to rationalize and say $100 as a price increase on a watch that was already $8,000 is not that severe of an uptick. So I think if you're already in the price range of a Sapphire Sandwich Moonwatch Professional and you prefer white to black, the price is not going to be a barrier to you at this point. But those are my first thoughts. I think ultimately this is going to be a pretty big hit for Omega. A lot of people were anticipating this, finally seeing it. It definitely looks good. That it's not limited, I think, is going to be a welcome relief to a lot of people. But I'd love to know what your actual thoughts are. So please comment below on the video and I will go and read those. I always do. And if you enjoyed this discussion, please do give the video a like. If you want to be notified when I have new videos, just click the subscribe button and I'll talk to y'all on the next one.